Hey, it's Ed with Slow Car Fix, and today I'm working on my 1964 Corvair Monza that was stored in a shipping container for 30 years. I've been bringing it back to life, and now I'm finally getting to the point where I can do some really rewarding small upgrades. Okay, so this is a prime example of a car that's driver quality, that's perfect for enjoying, but not too perfect that you don't want to drive it anywhere and that you're worried about leaving it places and that it becomes precious. I've got a 95 horsepower engine with a 110 heads on it. I just replaced, in my last video, replaced the Power Glide transmission with a good used unit. Seems to be working well. Got a couple little things to sort out, a couple final details, but I never wanted to take this car 100% because it had a transmission problem and I lost interest after the transmission didn't work, and I never took it that last 10%. I never got those final details done. So I'm gonna, for this video and probably the next one, I'm going to make an effort to try and get this car the best it can be for my use and for how I want it. All right, so the first thing you can notice is the paint is crap. It's got some primer here, it's got some chips, it's got some scratches, it's got, it's just an old crappy paint job. And you can see it's got rust running down from here, and rust running down from here. Fortunately, that's all covered by the front of the hood. But I ordered, I don't want to paint this car because I don't really like shiny cars that much, and that's not what I want for this car. I kind of like the way it looks. The only thing is I want it to, I don't want it to get any worse. I want it to last. So I just ordered some patina, wipe-on patina clear coat. So I'm going to try that. I won't have that for this video, but that'll probably be the next video. I just ordered it this morning. A couple of things that I got to finish up. I had all this stuff here, all this trim that goes around here, and all the trim. It's a new headliner. It's all new interior. It's a 63 interior. Because that's what I had available to me. But all the trim around here, I had it powder coated, and it looks okay. It's not quite the perfect match because it's the closest they could get with powder coat. So when I'm hoping that when I wipe on the clear coat here, that it will really break up the contrast between, I know you can't see because of the sun, but it'll break up the contrast between this dull, crappy aqua and the new aqua. You can kind of see it there. So I'm hoping that'll break that up. But I do have a radio bezel for it. I don't have an ashtray. The only one thing I have is the ashtray out of my wagon, which is like a tan color, and I'd probably put that in anyways. But I have a radio bezel that I've had powder coated that same aqua. I've got an NOS, maybe NOS is a little strong of a term. A good used, original looking, clean radio that probably doesn't work, that I'm not even gonna wire, that I could put in here. I've got couple of things. So it's got a Clark's Aqua carpets. It's got an NOS Clark's, no, not Clark's. It's an NOS one-piece aqua floor mat, dog hair. The back package tray I haven't done anything with yet. I do have one, and I have carpet that goes on it. So I don't know how to do that, but I'm gonna figure that out. One of the things I'm gonna do today is these weather strips are hard as a rock. They're all intact, but they're hard as a rock. I have new ones, so I'm going to replace them. The trunk weather strip on an early is really easy. It's just a strip that goes along the top, as far as I recall. So I'll do that. Sorry, that's the engine bay. The trunk side is a full one that goes around. I think I have one. I have to look at my pile of stuff. Sun visors. I've got some okay used sun visors from my wagon when my wagon got wrecked. That got wrecked. I've got, that's the engine bay weather strip, door weather strips. So I've got those. I'm going to go into my storage container and see what else I've got. And I know I've got a package shelf. I think it's the wrong color. I'm certain it's the wrong color, but I'm carpeting over it with the aqua matching carpet. So I got to see if I got that. I know I have that. I just got to find out where it is. And this is this one's real bad. Solid car, but like so I gotta take this weather strip out. I'm hoping that I've got one of these in my pile. Everything on this car mechanically is done. It's very well sorted that way. I do have a couple little things. I got a tail light. It's not working. I'm going to look at that. It's an LED tail light, so it must just be a ground or something. So I got to do that. So I worked on this car for about a week straight doing the transmission swap. So I enjoy sometimes on a day like today, just having a coffee and doing some puttering, as I call it, which is just small little rewarding jobs that get the car just a little bit nicer and make you feel good about accomplishing something. Okay, I'm pretty sure behind this is glass for my 55 Chevy. I'm pretty sure that this here is the package shelf cardboard, which I've heard is a pain to install, but I guess I'm going to find that out. And then I thought I had it around here somewhere. I have carpet that goes on it. That's the aqua that matches. So I got to find that. Okay, that's the cardboard. And, well, this is the box for the cardboard. It's in there. I think this is red, I'm pretty sure. There's the aqua carpet. It was kind of folded up and sitting on the back of the Mustang here. So I think I'm going to just lay some weights on that. This might be something that I do just a little later today. But I think I'm going to put some weights on that and try and flatten that out. Doesn't really look like a lot of carpet for the size of cardboard. So if something sticks out, I might have to paint it or black or something. I'm not sure. I'm going to look around and see what else I've got kicking about for parts to install on this thing. I've been collecting parts for a long time. It's one of those things, you know, you know you need it, so you just grab a piece at a time as you can afford it and as you have time, and eventually you get around to doing some little rewarding jobs like this. Didn't find everything, but I found some stuff. So this here's obviously red. These are very expensive to ship, these cardboards, because you can't bend them and they're huge, and to ship to Canada is a lot. So I got this from a friend of mine that didn't use it on one of his cars. The simple answer would be to get one the right color, but they're a lot to ship. So what I'm going to do, you can see this carpet doesn't quite cover all of it. So what I'm going to do is I'll take this outside and I'm going to spray the edges, like maybe about that much, with the black trim paint. Let it sit for a while. I'm going to put this back on the floor, this carpet, with these blocks of wood, and let that sit. And then I'll glue that on, or I don't know, figure out how this all goes. But I think it looks like it covers the majority of it, but there's a chance you're going to see some stuff in there. I'm not sure what all holds this in besides these clips. Not really sure. The gentleman that did my seat for me, covered my back seat for me, put on these nice stainless strips, so it's just a little, it's not correct, but it's a nice little touch. So I've got to figure out, I guess maybe I'll shape that cardboard in and see where it goes and go from there. Obviously I painted all back in there. So let me show you what else I found. I didn't find the trunk weather strip, but I found some cool stuff. So here's the ashtray for my wagon, which doesn't match anything. Interesting enough, it's a modified ashtray for a wagon, and it has USB ports in it. I did that on the day before we got T-boned with it. Found some stickers, rolled this flat. Found this thing that I've been wanting to put in something for a long time. Swivel out tissue holder, so I'll probably put that in. This is the one that I had powder coated. Not the right color, but it's close-ish. And then in here is, this might actually be closer to the right color, this aqua, but a very good looking radio that the box says, I don't know, it's got some tube in it. I don't know what this all is. So I think I'll install that just for looks. I'm not going to hook it up. It'd be nice to hook the light up though. I like it when they light up. Interestingly enough, my wagon didn't have a radio from factory. No speaker, no wiring, no bezel, just nothing. It was also a four-speed bench seat car, reverse light delete on my 62 wagon, which is kind of weird. Well, not reverse light delete, no option for reverse lights. So it had these interesting covers, which I always thought was kind of neat. It's one of my favorite parts, was that it didn't have reverse lights. It just had those block off covers. That actually the switch that's supposed to be there for the hatch for the reverse lights, the magnetic switch isn't there. Never was. Holes were never drilled. And like I said, the dash, the stereo was never there. It never had a stereo, which is interesting. This one did. I don't know where it went. But like may have said, but I said it in my last video, that this car was, when I bought it, was in a storage container for 30 years. It was basically a shell with interior in it, but it was not good, and every single thing had to be replaced on this car. And like I said, I got a tail light I got to fix. Got to adjust my belt, balance my carbs, put another quart of oil in it. We're getting there. Puttering, as I said. So I didn't find the trunk weather strip, so I'll have to either keep looking or order one. I was certain I had one, but maybe I had one for the 66 and not for the 64. I'm not sure, but this absolutely needs one, so it'll get one sooner or later. All right, time for a mini update. Weather strip on the driver, that's the passenger. On the passenger door is done. I wanted to do it first. I haven't done one of these. I have done them before, but not in a long time. So I wanted to do it and then show you. So I did one. And when I do this one, I will show you, but I'm not doing it right now because as soon as it's done, you have to close the door for a little bit. And I'm still working on stuff. Figured out my brake light issue. I have brake lights now. It was just the main connector was loose, and I guess I probably bumped that when I had the engine out. So using my trusty helper here, let's see. No, that's not enough. We have 2 LED brake lights, so that's cool. You can rest there, little fella. You can go there. So I have to take the back seat out, and I think the rear door cards to do this cardboard. So that's going to be fun. Let me show you what I came up with the cardboard. Take you for a walk. There's Slowbug and the 55. I found some vinyl dye. This is still drying, but I found some vinyl dye in my pile of stuff. And it actually seems to, I think it looks pretty good. It's still drying, but like, geez, it went on nice and even, and I'm happy with it. So that's good, because anything that sort of appears behind the green on the carpet will be hidden. So I'm going to let that dry some more, and then I'll do that. What am I at now? That's done. Light's done. I got to put a quart of oil in it before I forget, because after the oil change, I didn't top it up. I haven't driven it really, only just around the block. But I got to top that up. adjust my belt. I ordered a new dipstick. I should talk about this. You can see it's very, very greasy and shiny there. And I think that dipstick is broken. How can dipstick be broken? Well, lots of ways. So the one thing with the dipstick, it's leaking around the threads at the bottom of the, where it connects to the pan. That's okay. I've had that before. You put a little bit of liquid thread sealant on, like Permatex stuff, and you thread it in, and it's fine. Just like, it's kind of like pipe dope, but automotive and fuel rated. So I use that. I haven't done that on this yet. I'll tell you why. The other thing that can happen is the tab where the dipstick tube mounts to the bell housing. There's a little tab and a nut goes on there. And that tab can break or crack and put a hole in your dipstick. Put a hole in your dipstick tube, which this one had because the tab ripped off. So I welded it back on because I didn't have one. And it's not leaking there, but where it is leaking is at near the top. There's a little vent hole that I don't know if it's supposed to be there or not, but there's a little hole there. And it also seems to be leaking around the seal where the dipstick meets the tube, which is aftermarket chrome dipstick. So, long story short, there's a good point to this story. I emailed Jeff at the ranch, the Corvair ranch. I sent him an email saying, hey Jeff, I need a 64 dipstick and dipstick tube. Here's my address. He replied and said, send me your credit card number, and he sent me a picture of a dipstick and a dipstick tube. This was within half an hour, 3/4 an hour. I replied with my credit card number and all that stuff. He emailed me back with a UPS tracking number, and it was on its way. So in like an hour and a half from my initial email, he had already at least printed the label and packaged it to ship it out. So that's quick service. It'll be here tomorrow, I believe. And then I'll swap the dipstick tube, which is a greasy, messy job because transmission fluid gets everywhere. So I'll do that. But I just wanted to say that Clark's isn't the only vendor. Clark's is really good. They have every nut and bolt that you could ever want for these cars. They're fantastic. However, they are not the only vendor. There are other vendors. We need to support the other vendors so that way we still have parts for our cars, especially guys like Jeff at the ranch who specialize in used stuff, because Clark's didn't happen to have this dipstick tube and dipstick. They don't have any in stock. Jeff's got a pile though. So check out all the vendors, support them all. All right, back to work. I guess maybe I'll pull this seat out, this back seat out, and at least I guess I got to pull the bottom to pull the top, and I got to pull the door cards. This is going to be quite the show. So I got to do that. I'll do that before I get oily putting oil in this thing, and I'll leave that up to remind me that there's tools in there, and that I need to put oil in it. So, how am I going to do this? So the back seat, the lower part just pops out. It clips into the front of the, whatever that part. This part. It clips into that. The back is 4 bolts, I believe. And you can lift the back out. So I'll do that now, and I'll bring you back. I'm not sure if I like it. It's a lot of carpet. It looks okay, but looks kind of 70s-ish. I think it'll look better when the seat's back in, hopefully. That's what I got to do next. But what a pain in the butt. The good thing about it being carpeted and glued on top is that when I bend the cardboard all out of shape, in misshaped, you can't see the damage. So you definitely have to remove the door cards, you definitely have to remove the back seat. It is not really a fun job, it's kind of fiddly. And if I had to do it again, I probably wouldn't do the carpet, because I think this fuzzy business in the back window is going to look like crap. And over time, And Clark's carpets, even though they're cut in the right way, and they give you lots of different color choices. Like I could only get this aqua with them. They're not, in my experience, they're not a great carpet. I prefer an ACC carpet. I just put an ACC carpet into a 63 coupe maybe 3 weeks ago, and it turned out a lot better than this carpet did, and I think it's just because of the quality of the carpet. It was also a lot more money, so there is that. But the one thing about the carpets you get from Clark's is they do come in all the correct colors, and you can get exactly what you need that way. And when I did the wagon, you could only get wagon carpet from Clark's, so that was helpful. So anyways, you can see that in a past time, I have replaced the heater hoses in the back. This whole thing's been painted. Everything's been done on this car. I forget all the stuff I did. So I'm going to put Jim's back seat back in it, and then carry on to the Weatherstrip on the other door and show you what that's all about. And then it needs a good vacuum, because even though it only got a few runs last year, there's lots of dog hair. So I got to do that. Back seat is in and all that stuff looks good. I think it's fine. I installed this little guy, this little Kleenexy guy. I've been wanting to install that for ages. I don't know where I got it. I don't remember, and I don't know why I wanted it. But anyways, let's compare what the radios look like. Okay, so I know this is the wrong color, but it matches all the trim. But how is this one? Well, now I just wrecked that. This one might be better. Let's look and see. So, it doesn't really look right either. But, does this one? No, it matches this piece, but not here. But like I said, I'm going to do wipe on clear. I already got a couple comments from my last video, people saying don't do the wipe on clear. I get it, it's not real clear, and I'm not painting this car, so it's yeah, it's getting something, because it's terrible the way it is. Just any water spot on the paint, it just stays forever. So what about this guy? Like that? Is that okay? I guess I'm asking you, and you're not going to answer me because you're not here. I do dig the look of the radio. And if there's wires, I'll hook it up, but I think the speaker's long gone, so I think I'll go with that one. It's not the correct, none of it's the correct color. It's like 50 shades of green in here. So I gotta find some nuts. Gotta find some nuts for that. I think it's time to do the Weatherstrip on the other side. I'll show you, like, this one's nice and plush and pliable. You can see, like, it's all, because it's new, right? And I'll take you over and I'll show you the driver's side. The deck lid's closed and there's tape there because I put the one on the engine bay. Probably did it wrong, but that's okay. But if you look at this one, like, I can't even push on that. That's hard as a rock. So the way this goes is this just pops out any which way you can pop it out. So screwdriver, whatever you got, that gets it out. And then the thing to do is I've been taking this prep wash, this wax and grease remover, and I wipe out the channel to get any old adhesive off. Now, ideally you want to use black adhesive because it blends in with the seal. I didn't have any handy, so I've got the old school yellow stuff, but I'm just going to clean it up after I'm done. So I'll show you what this side turned out like. See, like, look at this. Any little mark or stain just looks, you know, so you can see the water spots. So I think the clear, like, yes, the clear is going to, it's not going to fix any of this, but at least it'll be uniform and it'll just stay that way. And you know, it's gonna hide things like this, and it won't hide it, but it'll protect it. So you can see there's 3 holes here, but I've glued that with the Weatherstrip adhesive, and then I got it held down with tape just to hold it. It doesn't take much, but you can see I've got too much glue there, and I've got a little too much glue there. But I'll take the wax and grease remover after and just give everything a wipe all the way around, and it comes right off. It's not a big deal. So let me show you how this comes off. I did it with, not that, I just did it with a screwdriver. And then there's a couple little tricks to putting it on that I've recently discovered. Okay, so I'm trying to do this one-handed. It's in a channel that's on this side, and it's in a channel that's here, which is kind of nice actually, because it holds it in. And you just try it out. I'm trying to do this one-handed. And you just work your way around. Normally you have more than one hand. There we go. It's kind of satisfying when it comes out, because once you get a hold of it, you can just walk it all the way along. Now, obviously, I don't care about this paint, so I'm just going at it with a metal screwdriver. Plastic tools do exist, and you could put some tape along here if you've got a nicely painted car. You could use a rag in behind it. I've done that before, where I just wrap it in a paper towel and just make sure you don't go through. But obviously, like, I don't care about this. I care about the car, don't get me wrong. I don't care about the paint, because it's not that kind of car. There, so this spot up here has no pegs, and I think down to about here, and then around in here you start getting into these little pins. And I don't think, judging by the condition of this, I don't think this has been replaced. And I also, you know, knowing the history on this car, well, some of the history, there we go. It was parked for a long time. So, just like so, and then you hit these little plugs. And they're just a little nub like that. And ideally you don't pull them like that, because it will actually pull, they're really hard, so they'll pull the metal. So I've got a tool that I use for like removing trim and stuff, and I just stick that guy in behind, try and get around it. And you know, once again, if this is a nicely painted car, you wouldn't be doing it with a camera in your hand, and you'd be giving more attention and care. But a scratch underneath the Weatherstrip on this car, it's not going to matter. You see what happened there? Just like so. That's exactly what I want. A lot easier with one hand, or with two hands. But you can see, it just goes like that. Bam. That's how it's supposed to go. So I'll work my way around, pull this off, clean this up, and then I'll show you there's little plugs that go in these holes. And I'll show you how that goes. And then, see, there's no Weatherstrip adhesive here. And like, I'm pretty sure this is factory install. Yeah, it is. Look at the bead there. That's like a perfect bead. Right there of what looks to be factory Weatherstrip adhesive. I could be wrong. Maybe I'm just making this up, but it looks like it was installed relatively professionally. So there's none here, but what I do is I just put like a couple little drops in between these holes. It's, you know, it's not going to hurt, but you don't want to put too much in this channel, just a thin bead. But I got to go ahead and clean all that off. So I'll do that, and then I'll bring you back and I'll show you when it's time to, I'll continue to remove this. It just keeps going just the way I have. The only spot that doesn't have those pins is this bit here. Once I get into here, those pins are here. There's one right there. Boink. There's one right there. So I'll go ahead and pull them off, and I'll bring you back for the install, and I'll show you what I got to do for the install. Okay, let me show you what I do with these holes. So the tabs, the little push-in tabs on the Weatherstrip are too small for these. So it comes with, I think it comes with, these K1464 from Clark's. And then these little, see if you can see that, little nubby guys, grommets, that go in these holes. But when you put them in, just like that, they don't seat. It takes a little bit to get them to seat. So what I figured was that I get my handy dandy punch that's roughly the same size. And if you can't fix it with a hammer, then it's an electrical problem. That's it. Bam. It's in. So you go around and you put those little grommety guys in all these little holes. It doesn't take too much effort because you can screw them up. But then you end up with this nice little grommet that the Weatherstrip pushes into. And like I said, there's holes from here all the way around the door frame, everything except for the window channel. So I'm going to carry on and put them in. Hey everyone, it's a couple of days later. There's updates. Let me show you what's going on. I've got a whole whack of mess, and somehow changing my weather strips and doing my interior stuff and finishing details ended up with 3 Corvairs down. All right, so where I left you on this was I was doing the weather strips, which are done, and cleaned up the interior. The carpet thing is done. Weather strips are good. I still have a bit of glue to clean up, but it's pretty good. They're nice and pliable. A little bit of glue in here to clean up. Once again, if you can and you're doing this, buy the black glue. I just used what I had, which was old yellow glue. I got the radio installed, not hooked up because there's no speaker. It's just there for decoration. Almost everything. So if you watched my last video, you'll know that I've replaced the transmission in this with a used transmission because the transmission that was in it was bad. This transmission that I put in it works fantastic. Everything is good. I did the crank seal, the bell housing seal, like the bell housing gasket, torque converter seal, obviously changed the gaskets between the diff and the trans, did all that stuff. Did the power glide cable adjustment, did the power glide cable O-ring, did everything. Car is working fantastic. Drives great. It's probably the best Corvair that I have for driving right now. However, I took it for a little drive with my wife and the dog and parked in the driveway, moved some stuff around, back to the shop, walked back out to get the next car to pull it in, and noticed a drip. Transmission fluid dripping, and it's coming from the bell housing. So that means it's the torque converter seal that I just replaced, and guess what? Either I did something wrong, which is quite probable, or bad seal, not probable. Something didn't go in quite right. I don't know. I greased it as per Clark's instructions. I made sure everything was clean. Everything went in pretty good. It's leaking. Leaking bad enough that I cannot look the other way and pretend that it's not leaking. So that means powertrain has to come back out of this. Now, fortunately, I don't have to do all the work I just did because it's not as big of a job. I don't have to take off the flex plate. I don't have to take the trans off the diff. I don't have to remove the bell housing. I just have to drop the powertrain, take the front shroud off, and undo the flex plate to the torque converter, take the diff and trans off the transmission, or off the bell housing, pull it all out as a unit, pop the torque converter out, and have a look and see what happened to the seal. I ordered a new seal from Clark's. It's on its way, which brings me to where I am right now, waiting for parts. So what do I do when I'm waiting for parts? Well, I work on something else. Why did I start that? Let me show you what I'm doing on the Corsa, which has turned into a nightmare. This is my 66 Corsa, fresh engine with, like, I don't know, it's on its second oil change. It's a great car. I love this car. But what did I just do to it? So my tach has been bouncing all over the place. And my speedometer is inaccurate because I have the incorrect tire size. So I like to have, on this car, I'd like to have one or the other read sort of accurate so I can clock my speed, and also so I know I'm not, you know, running too high revs in the highway or anything like that. So the tachometer that I had in there, probably not the original to this car, but it's an original tach. And what happened with it was it would go up to, you'd be cruising along at like 70 miles an hour, and it would be reading 3,500 RPMs, which is sort of where you expect it to be. And then it would go up to 4,500 RPMs, and then you would accelerate, and it would come back down. Not accurate, not reliable. So I noticed in the new Clark's supplement that they sent out that they have this advertisement for this fancy electronic tach that is self-calibrating and wonderful, allegedly. It might be. However, the installation has proved to be a bit of a problem and caused myself some issues. And they're ED problems. They're not necessarily a problem with this tach, but let me tell you about it. So I think this tach, like, I had it self-calibrating. I had it working out of the car. I had it working in the gauge set. But there's these little insulators inside the tach. They were missing on the cup that I had. It's a long story. I ended up with a dead short yesterday. So a dead short means that somewhere power is touching ground, and that's not good. This is really not good. Somewhere in that process, I believe I fried my Pertronics. which I'm not a fan of Petronix. I like the Crane XR700 myself, but if it's running Petronix and it's working, then that's cool. So this has Petronix 2, and my ramp side has Petronix 2. So it wouldn't run. Dash worked, but it wouldn't run. And then I said, okay, well, I checked, there's no spark, which is weird. I like just drove this car the other day. So I stole the Petronix out of the ramp side, because the ramp side also had Petronix. Petronix from the ramp side made the car fire up. However, then I immediately lost all dash lights, and the tach doesn't work. So that escalated quickly. So now I have the Petronix out of the ramp side and in the Corsa, so the ramp side doesn't run. I have this car, the Corsa, nothing in the dash works, and all the dash wiring is melted. That's because I had a dead short yesterday, and what happened was I ended up livening up the cup that the tachometer sits in, and that grounded, made some smoke, let the smoke go to the wiring. Fortunately, it's only the dash wiring. I have, because I'm a hoarder, I have other Corsa dashes, so I'll take the harness off another Corsa dash. It's not the end of the world. But yeah, just wanted to explain to you guys, you folks, that it's never as easy as it looks. There's always something that could go wrong, and it could be your own fault or someone else's fault or faults of whatever. So the realities of owning a bunch of old cars, a bunch of cars in general, doesn't matter what it is, you've got to fix things, and you run into troubles from time to time. Can't get upset about it. It's just, it is what it is. So I went from having everything running and everything great, and I had a wonderful drive with the wife and dog, to now I have, now mind you, I can have the rampy going in like 10 minutes, but now I have 3 cars down. So that's the reality of owning multiple cars. I'm very fortunate to be in the position where I can own multiple cars, so I'm not really worried about it. I don't need any of these cars to go to work. So I will wait for my seal. It's supposed to be in for the 64 in a couple of days. I'm done for tonight on the Corsa because I've had enough of it. So the battery's disconnected. I'm gonna turn off my work light, and I'm gonna go in and probably edit this video. But I just want to show you the reality of owning these cars. Sometimes stuff happens. You can't worry about it. They're just old cars. They're 60 years old. They're gonna break. Sometimes they're gonna break on their own. Sometimes you're gonna break them yourself. It happens. Don't worry about it. Don't stress about it. If you're relying on one of these cars to go to work every day, I don't know what to tell you. I wouldn't put myself in that spot, but that's my own opinion, and I've got a long commute, so yeah. All right, let me talk about what's next. Okay, like I said, I'm done for today. So what I'm gonna do, and I'm done because if anyone knows what these are like to get out when you don't have the right tool for it and you're trying to do it with your finger, yeah, there's a little button that you have to push, and you have to pull that out, and sometimes it can be a bear. So I'm leaving that for right now. I'm going to just like that. See, I was checking for spark and doing all the things. The rampy, what do I do about that? I'm probably, because I'm almost certain that I've killed the Petronix in this car. And I don't really like Petronix anyways. I'm gonna go online and order an XR700, Crane XR700. You know what, I might even order 2 of them because I don't like Petronix. It's just a preference. There's Petronix 1, Petronix 2. These cars both have Petronix 2, and Petronix 2 has been dynamite in the rampy for years. I drove that thing all over the place, drove to a couple conventions, and it's been great. That car's been great, but when they go, they go, and I've had them go. I've got a box full of dead ones. But the one that I have never had die on me is this Crane Fireball XR700. This is actually the one that was out of my wagon. I don't think you can get the Crane ones anymore. I think they're made by Fast now, but they're still fine. The only disadvantages, you can see them. They've got a little box here, so, you know, they're not as pretty, but they work, and they're, in my experience, very reliable. I've had them on a ton of cars, and they've always been reliable. Anyone's Corvair that I was working on for them, if they wanted to do an electronic ignition upgrade, that's what they got. So that there, I guess I'll order one for sure, and I don't know, I'll see how much they cost and how much I feel like spending. And maybe I'll order a second one just so I've got it for the Rampy whenever the Rampy needs it. Because, yeah. So that's going to get resumed tomorrow. And ideally what I'll do is I will fix the harness and get it to stop blowing fuses. And know it runs on the Rampy's Pertronics. Then I'll try the old Pertronics back in it, see if it works. I don't think it will. And then I'll put this Pertronics back in the Rampy. And the Rampy will be good again for a while. Still waiting on the seal for that. That'll be a powertrain drop, and that'll be a video, and that'll be an express powertrain drop. That'll hopefully, if I can get some time in my schedule, that'll be a one-day deal. It'll be drop the powertrain, hustle, see what the hell's wrong with it, change the seal, put the powertrain back together, put it back in. It's a lot of work. Yeah, and then hopefully this one will be good. I will give you updates. So I've got to work on these things in bits and pieces because I do have a full-time job. We do have things that we're doing. Next weekend, I don't think I have much going on. The weekend after that, we're going to a bug thing and driving the bug for a long time, so I got to go through it. Also, I ordered that wipe on clear coat. That should be here soon. I'm probably going to do the bug first because the bug I'm taking to that bug thing, and I'd like it to be one sort of shininess, one shine. All right, thanks for watching. Some good things and bad things in this video. Good thing is 64 runs and drives fantastic. Bad thing is I got to pull the engine out because it's still leaking. The transmission is still leaking. But the good news is it's still a great car. The other bad news is the Corsa's apart, but the good news is I can fix it. I got parts. Yeah. Thanks for watching, and the next video should be either pulling the powertrain out of the 64 or wipe on clear coat on the bug. Thanks for watching.